Good evening, Mr. Ros. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Good evening.
Reading your book, The Bank, How Goldman Sachs Rules the World, in short, Goldman Sachs manipulated Greek statistics to facilitate Greece's entry into the euro. What really happened? And at the end of the day, who really profited? Who profited the most
Well,
from that deal?
A Greek-born banker from Goldman Sachs had this idea of creating a product that will help countries hide a bit of their debt, take off their debt to put it off the balance sheet. And so she went to go to the Greek government, Mr. Simitis, saying, we can do that for you.
Yes.
The problem is that it was helping a country to cheat, to enter into the euro, even if Europe was very keen of having Greece.
Yes.
Goldman Sachs did help Greece to massage the figures. Who won? Well, short term, Goldman Sachs made a lot of money,
Yes.
and Greece went into the euro. Medium term, Greece is in a mess today, and Goldman Sachs is full of scandals.
So, who profited the most from that deal? The bank or Greece? Or both?
I think both profited.
Both profited. Don't you think that the Greek government was cheated? Or it was a win-win deal?
The Greek government knew that they will join the euro on false pretenses. But you need two to tango. You need two to dance together. So you had Goldman Sachs who benefited, the Greek government benefits, all short term.
What was Goldman Sachs's real profits?
The Goldman Sachs profits directly, not a lot. A little commission.
A
million
little?
or two.
A little? What do you
Well,
mean
we
a
don't
little
know.
commission?
It won't be enormous. Indirectly enormous, because other countries would then buy the product from Goldman Sachs, how to help them to diminish their public debts.
Would you say that questions of legality and morality have been raised in that case?
Legality, no.
Morality?
Yes. There's a lack of ethics on the Greek part and on Goldman Sachs part. You cannot cheat it, because it's giving the bad example to everyone.
Continuing, we see that you say doing business with Goldman Sachs is like swimming with sharks. It is a very dangerous, extreme sport. Do Goldman Sachs clients stand any chance of surviving in such dangerous waters?
Goldman Sachs clients know very well that it's a double-edged game, that on the one hand, they will have the best advice, and that's why they pay for it. And on the other hand, Goldman Sachs can use the information to play against them. But so many agree with that, because they still want Goldman Sachs, because it's perceived as the best, most powerful bank who delivers what they promise.
Let's move on to the role of the rating agencies in the current European debt crisis. We see that when a rating agency downgrades a country, the ripples, the shock waves are felt across Europe. In your opinion, what measures can the indebted European countries take to avoid being swamped, being collapsed by these little economic tsunamis, if I can say?
Well, rating agencies have been very criticized before the crisis because they saw nothing about the banks, and they were influenced by the banks. They were banks where they climbed, they paid for the ratings. So after the financial crisis and the sovereign crisis, they made it up. They become really harder, so they couldn't be criticized. So one solution is to break the power of the rating agency. The problem is, how do you do it? By legislative, saying they cannot downgrade by 3 points, like they do. 1 point explaining, and then the market should realize that ratings agencies
it seems
are
it is
a
not
cartel.
so easy. It seems it's not so easy, but let me ask you something else. It is thought in some circles, in some economic, political circles, that Greece won't avoid debt restructuring. In fact, Der Spiegel and The Economist wrote yesterday about the necessity for a quick debt restructuring. What do you think?
I think it's inevitable. I think the ECB, the European Central Bank, and the monetary fund shouldn't have charged interest on the money they giving to Greece, because they did that to calm the markets. But in fact, Greece can't afford this debt burden. So the only way is to reschedule, but negotiated reschedule.
Who are going to profit?
Well, the bankers will lose on it, because all these bankers who gave money blindfolded to Greece or to Ireland or to Portugal will have to share the burden. They have to write off part of the debts.
Thank you, Mr. Ros, for joining us tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.